So, this year in YouTube has been eventful so far. And one of the biggest things on YouTube this year in the ideas community, as the distributist calls it, is was the debate between Sargon and Richard Spencer. And we all know about that debate. I did a video on it earlier. I'm not here to talk about that today because something happened right after that, which was actually, I think, a much more significant and consequential debate, which was the discussion that Sargon had with Mr. Metokur. Sargon and Metokur. This seems to have gone under the radar, and I'd like to talk about it a little bit more because it really was the key debate that regarded not just the YouTube community, but just our attitude towards life, in my opinion, okay? So what we had here was, we had Sargon and Metokur going head-on-head together. I'll link the description if you want to watch it yourself. It's actually a really entertaining and fascinating debate. On one side, Metokur is saying, okay, let's talk about these two people, all right? We have Sargon of Akkad. He's always been an anti-feminist, ideas man. He's always been somewhat idealistic. He's been critical. His criticism has come in the form of appealing to a moral standard and showing how feminist doesn't match up to that standard. It's always been a more serious channel, although there has been some fun in it. Then the other side, we have Mr. Metokur, who is kind of almost like a legendary figure at this point because his satire is just very, very, very good. He seems to have kickstarted the whole Gamergate movement, which is actually pretty amazing if you think about it. Like he was able to start an internet movement that was very big and caused ripples all over the political world in the United States just by making some YouTube videos, you know, with a crappy microphone in his basement or whatever, you know. So we have these two very influential YouTubers. I mean, and their attitudes are diametrically opposed. One of them is Sargon, who says to Metokur, you could have changed the world and you didn't do anything. And Metokur is saying, what the hell are you talking about? I'm a YouTuber. I make YouTube videos. None of this is important. You're not going to change the world. You're being an idiot, you know. And Sargon says, well, we have to change the world. We have to try. And Metokur says, you're an idiot. You don't change the world. Nothing's going to change. Just don't try to do this. Just have fun. Laugh at stupid shit and move on with your life. We have idealism and cynicism fighting each other. Now, if you're going to ask like who's right, there's no real easy answer to that. These aren't really opposing principles. These are attitudes we have towards life, and sometimes one is appropriate and sometimes the other is appropriate. But there is an answer to which one is ultimately more important. And before I tell you, I should tell you this, that personally, I like Metokur more than Sargon. I have reason to dislike Sargon. His anti-religion stance is very disgusting to me, to be honest. So, and it's always bugged me, and I just don't know why I can't just shut up about something that he doesn't care about. I don't like that aspect of him. I don't like that arrogance, okay? Metokur doesn't seem to have that, although I don't care. He doesn't seem to mention religion, which is I actually appreciate a lot. I find Metokur more entertaining than Sargon, especially nowadays. I find Sargon sort of pompous and irritating, and I find Metokur kind of funny, although he's kind of more cruel than I would be, you know. That being said, so I want to let you know that emotionally, for me, I want to side with Metokur, and I don't want to side with Sargon. But if we're talking about idealism versus cynicism, ultimately, idealism is more important. Ultimately, idealism is more like you have to grow up. Now, does that mean Sargon's right that his YouTube videos can change the world? Well, probably not. But there is something that I have to commend him for. Like, he said in this debate, like, I don't care about looking cool. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to make this liberalistism movement. Now, everyone has mocked this liberalistism movement, and the liberals are acting like lolcows and, you know, reacting like spazzes to everyone mocking them. But here's the thing. At least they're trying to do something to change it. I might not agree with it, but I can appreciate and commend them for being brave enough to rise above just just looking cool and looking like the cool kids and actually trying to do something. Whereas Metokur, you know, that it's a dead end. I mean, you're not gonna. It's gonna be entertaining, but I think in the end, people do want to stop with the cynicism and like find something to look for. They're gonna look for an ideal to follow. It's basically what humans do. Now, so if I had to choose between one or the other, I would have to choose idealism. Not that I agree with any of his principles, Sargon's principles, but I would agree with having a principle as opposed to just laughing at everything and just saying everyone's stupid, everyone sucks. That's hard for me to say. I like Metokur more than I like Sargon. But if I have to choose, I would have to go with Sargon. Like, idealism is more important than looking cool and having a laugh. Now, that being said, both of these characters are characters created by human beings. Sargon is a character created by Carl Benjamin. Metokur is a character created by whoever Mr. Metokur is, Jim something or other. I don't think that the person behind Mr. Metokur actually is cynical about everything. In fact, I think that he's hiding his idealism. He does care about things, but he's presenting a figure on the internet, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. He's within his rights to do so. And I do think that he's right about YouTube itself being probably an entertainment format better than anything else. But that being said, that attitude of cynicism is, in the end, kind of unhealthy. It's kind of like, nothing. Like, if you can't live your life that way, and if you do, you're going to become a horrible person. In the end of the day, I mean, you can't just be cynical about everything. I've mentioned it half a dozen times that I have some small children in my house, and they are not cynical about anything. And the day they do become cynical, it's going to be a very sad day for me. When my son's 8, and he's full of ideas and full of, vim and vigor, and, we're reading The Hobbit right now, and he loves it, and he's, fighting the dragons and fighting the spiders and the tales of heroes, and it makes me really sad to think that he's going to be like a cynical, smarmy teenager. I mean, I know it's going to happen. He's going to grow up. He's going to outgrow the simple idealism of his youth. But to never regain that idealism, to never have anything you believe in, and just to always just be a cynical, snarky teenager, there is something that's sort of adolescent and immature about that, and it can't last forever, okay? Cynicism is important to deal with disappointments in life, to deal with false idealism. But if you take it too far and you go to the point where you don't believe in anything, well then it becomes deadening. It becomes just unhealthy, and it's not even funny anymore. It's just darkness. If you think everything's dark, then you can laugh at the darkness, but the laughter is not very joyful. And it's also, you might find that you lose the ability to see the light. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel.